Welcome to the Biltmore Church Podcast. Our church exists to glorify God by making disciples of Jesus who reach up, reach in, and reach out. And this podcast is a resource to help you do just that. Today, we are bringing you a special bonus episode. We're taking a break for the summer, and you know, if you're listening to this, most weeks we're walking through Scripture. We're talking about the sermon from last Sunday. Today, we're taking a little bit of a detour. So quick introductions. I'm Christian Cooper, and today I'm joined by two amazing members of our worship team. We got Holden Pace with us all the way from the Hendersonville campus, and we've got Carleigh White joining us as well. First time on the podcast officially.
First time.
Super pumped about that. And we're going to do something a little different. We are sharing today our top 5 country songs about God.
Yes.
We had so many requests for this.
There's also so many songs. It's hard
true.
to get a list of top 5, and mine might change after this episode.
And this might be a 3-hour episode. We don't know.
Buckle up.
I'm here for it.
We've got a lot of content to cover. It's going to be a great time. So if you're a country music person, this episode is for you.
And if you're not as well,
Don't turn it off.
We hope that you're enlightened and educated.
And
by the
you
end of
might
this
end up
episode.
liking country music by the end of this.
I hope so.
Exactly.
I hope so.
That is the goal.
So we've all got a top 5. There's no repeats. So there are some things like on each other's list we did not repeat, even though they would have made our list. So we're bringing you at least 15 songs today. Mm-hmm. These are songs that have meant something to us personally. Some of them are deep. Some are nostalgic. Some of them hopefully might surprise you. We're going to find out. But these are our top 5 country songs about God. We're going to count down one at a time, going from number 5 to number 1. Mm-hmm. So our number 1s will be last. And we'll get to throw in some honorable mentions a little bit later on as we go. So we're going to reveal the song, the artist, why it made our list. And also, before I forget, we're going to put out a special Spotify playlist with all the songs from our list today and maybe some others.
Yes.
We'll throw that thing out.
Yeah.
It'll be in the notes for today's episode description, so you can go find that, throw it on there. Perfect
Carleigh
for
may
summer.
even do a Apple Music playlist.
Yes, I do partake in Apple Music. Yes.
Those of you that use Apple Music.
For all 4 of you who listen to Apple Music, we'll have that for you as well. So either option, we'll have that, but mainly for Spotify. All right, that's enough for the front end. You guys ready to do this?
I'm ready.
I'm in.
All right, let's go. So before we get started with the lists, I would love to just start by hearing from both of you about your relationship to country music.
Go
I'm
ahead,
going
Carleigh.
first. Okay. I was thinking about this earlier. I have always known about country music. I grew up with that.
Right.
I was born in South Carolina, but for the most of my life, I was raised in Alabama. And so you hear it, you're involved in it, you love it. But when I was growing up, it was like the artists that I remember loving was like Keith Urban, Brad Paisley, Carrie Underwood. And then as I got older, I started to appreciate more of like the older artists, so Kenny Rogers, Keith Whitley, Dolly Parton, George Jones, George Strait, Alan Jackson. And so when I think about like my spectrum of country music, I love the new stuff because it's new, and I also love all the way back to like the 70s and 80s of country music. But it's the best to me. It's the best music to like drive to.
Yeah.
It's the best music to think to. Especially where we live. Like, are you kidding? Get on the Parkway,
Yeah.
throw on some Keith Whitley, some Morgan Wallen even, if that's your jam, and just drive. And it's the perfect, like, sad, happy, any emotion. You can love country music to it.
100%.
Yeah. Which, to your point, most of the country music origin would be in the Appalachian Mountains. So I'll go ahead and say it. Anybody else that tries to claim that it came from somewhere else, country got its origin from bluegrass music, and bluegrass music was a combination of African-American music paired with Celtic roots music, and that started in the Appalachian Mountains. It was called hillbilly music, and then later on called bluegrass. That was kind of my introduction to country music, was through bluegrass music and then country as well. My grandfather, he played a lot of music growing up. And then my mom and dad also did. And so my grandfather, he passed away when I was younger, but he left an impression on my life for bluegrass and country music. Not only that, but the fact that he left his guitar. It's actually right here. I don't know if it's in the picture, but this belonged to my grandfather. And growing up seeing him play, matter of fact, the day he passed away, he had just walked off stage from playing
Oh, man.
bluegrass music in a church service.
Wow.
So, and so left that impression on me as well as my parents. And so just growing up, sitting in the back seat of the car with a cassette tape. Some of you don't know about cassette tapes. I remember like one of the first cassette tapes that I remember like my dad putting in to the Ford Explorer was Ricky Skaggs Live in London.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And this was actually recorded before I was born, but it is an incredible like marriage of like bluegrass into country music, because that album was a country music album, but it was just very bluegrass influence. And then after that came, I remember Diamond Rio. He had those. My mom was really big into Pam Tillis.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Pam Tillis. So because of that, ever since then, I've just had a love for country music and bluegrass music and just everything in between. So I guess that's where the origin for me would be, where I started loving country music. I feel like I didn't have a choice, which I'm glad. But
Yeah, I think that's true for all three of us. It's like you kind of grew up on it. There wasn't like this day where it's like, oh, now you're going to listen to country music, which is great if that's you. But if it's like kind of a part of your culture and your DNA, you don't have like this is the origin story. It just is. I remember my dad drove an '01 red Tacoma extra cab, which is one of those ones where the back seat is not a full back seat.
you got to sit sideways.
Yeah, you got to sit like at the very best at an angle. Some of them had the sideways seats all the way.
Yeah, and ain't nobody worried about no seatbelts then.
No way, dude. But I grew up on country radio, just driving around with that. And then I can remember CDs too. Like I still think all the time about how many times on CD in that truck we had Tim McGraw's greatest hits.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just iconic,
Yeah.
Especially at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had songs after that, but the prime Tim McGraw was the pre-01.
It's unbelievable.
It's interesting, like, thinking about, like, what's the first memory you have of, like, listening to country music in the car? And I'm the same way. Like, I remember Asheville Highway. I'm in my dad's, like, red Chevrolet truck, and I hear Chicken Fried for the first time by Zach Brown Band. And I was like, this will do.
Yep.
Love this.
I love this.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
That paired with my other grandfather, he was really, he loved George Jones, and he also loved, I'm trying to think of the name. Why am I drawing a blank? Walking on the Fighting Side of Me. Do you know who that is?
Merle Haggard.
Merle Haggard. I don't know why I forgot that name, but my dad would listen to this because my grandfather, his dad, loved Merle Haggard, and he would drop us off, for speaking of vehicles, an F-350 diesel, super loud.
Oh, gosh.
Super loud, and he'd drop us off with the cassette tape of like Okie from Muskogee.
Oh, yeah.
And then Walking on Fighting Side of Me.
Yeah, man.
And I just remember him dropping us off and me trying to like cut down the radio, and he's like, ain't nothing wrong with this, But now I'm like, I've got it on my playlist.
Yeah, it's still there, man.
Merle Haggard. Why did I forget?
One of the greats, man. All right, so one more thing before we get going. You were talking about this the other day when we were planning for this, is some of the connection between country music and Christian music.
Oh, yeah.
I would love for you to just kind of restate some of that stuff, because I think it's fascinating. You're like our country music historian on this episode.
You are. Oh, my gosh. We were in school.
So there's tight roots coming from gospel hymns. Also, I spoke about this earlier, Celtic and African American influenced music, whether it be blues. That's where like bluegrass got the blues from. So a lot of times they're even running those pentatonic scales on a guitar that sound like blues, but they're just playing it sped up a little bit. But a lot of that came from the roots of singing hymns in the church. And so you'll even hear, like if you listen to 70s and 80s country music, you can hear the influence of gospel tunes from before that era. And so I do think there is a massive connection between country music and the faith. A lot of these artists are very open about their faith with Jesus. I know I mentioned Ricky Skaggs. That man, you can listen to an interview for 5 minutes. He's going to mention Jesus Christ in that interview. And it just, what's cool about that is it does have such a big connection, because I joke about this now, but like there was a point in time growing up where my parents didn't want me to listen to like quote unquote, secular music, but country music was always okay.
Yeah.
That's a very Southern thing, I think.
Would y'all agree with
1,000%.
But yeah, it's really cool seeing the connection from the hymns, and then how they've been repackaged over the years, very influenced by not only gospel influenced country, but then country influenced gospel.
Yeah.
And how we are writing and producing music, especially if you listen through like the 70s and 80s, a lot of the lyrics just change them, and it's like, oh man, we're in church right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for me, that's like, I grew up in a church where a lot of those songs were repackaged into like country songs. Whether we liked it or not, we weren't trying to do them that way, but it just,
Just the way it happened, man.
Just the way it happened.
No, that's awesome. All right, so starting with the top 5. Right now, we're just going to alternate. So again, why it made your list, any lyrics that hit home, memories, stories, any truth that's like, man, this is an awesome truth. So, ladies first, Carleigh.
Thank you.
You're number 5 of your top 5
Let me pull
country
out.
songs about God.
I brought my paper notes
Your
today.
old school notes.
Yeah, I didn't bring my computer. Okay, my number 5 pick is the newest pick of my 5. I discovered this girl, crazy enough, Holden sent me this song. And it was a couple months ago. It's called The Building by Emily Ann Roberts. I think she got her start on TikTok, but she's from Tennessee. She's probably the cutest person you've ever seen on Instagram or whatever. But the song is called The Building, and it is fantastic. If you want to feel what I call FBCs, which are full body chills,
yes, yes,
then you need to listen to this
that's
song.
not First Baptist Church.
No, that's not. Let me see. My notes are, so basically it's a story, which is what I love about country music is that, and like you're saying, it's very personal, it's very raw, it's very real. Yeah. And so part of the lyrics are like her great-granddad preached in the building, her mom and dad met at VBS in the building. I loved this line, and it talked about like the church building has seen glowing brides, but it's also seen the weeping as loved ones laid to rest with sad goodbyes. What a line that I've never thought about it that way. And then the chorus goes, I know the stained glass never saved a soul in these pews and on the roll that's called up yonder. I know the pulpit's just a wooden stand, but it's felt the power of God's hand, and his glory filled the place with awe and wonder. I know it's just a building, plain and simple white, but it's the building where Jesus changed my life.
Jeez.
And now wait, let me give you more. The bridge, it says, it's where I learned that Jesus hears my prayers and he's walking with me everywhere. And no matter what I've done, I know I'm loved. I'm always loved. So that is called The Building. And it's such a big song too. I remember playing it for my mom in the car as we're driving to Greenville. And my mom has never heard this song. And she's like gripping the car, like bracing for what's next. So that is my number 5 pick. It is fantastic. If you want to cry, that's the song you do it to.
Yeah.
Great way to start it.
Thank you so much.
It is one of my favorite songs. And if you want to hear an up and coming country artist,
Exactly.
She also has a song with Vince Gill and Ricky Skaggs.
Yes.
That's incredible as well. But that is by far, I think, both of our favorite Emily Ann Roberts
And
songs.
her writing it too is what used to be, she's now doing again, which I love.
That's so awesome. Great pick.
Thank you.
All right, you're up, Holden.
Yeah, country music, like we talked about, is just the reason I connect with is like real life experiences
Yeah.
that I can relate to. Faith, not just trucks in a farmer field.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, so this song has always stuck with me. It might be one of my newest songs on here, but it's When I Get Where I'm Going by Brad Paisley and Dolly Parton.
My girl.
I mean, what a combo, by the way.
What a combo, exactly. Trailblazers of the industry.
Yes. Brad Paisley, who's an incredible songwriter, guitarist as well. A lot of people, I feel like very few people know how good of a guitar player Brad Paisley is. And then with Dolly Parton. And the song just talks about, we're not of this world when we get where we're going. We're just passing through. And I think that's a lot of the metaphor when we talk about heaven and country songs is we're just passing through.
Yeah.
It's just, and when I get where I'm going on the far side of the sky, the first thing I'm going to do is spread my wings and fly. And at the end of it, he says, when I get where I'm going and I see my maker's face, it's another one of those tear jerkers.
Yep.
And he said, I'll stand forever in the light of his amazing grace. And then him and Dolly just lied into another chorus.
Just go crazy.
But it puts you there. When you're telling a story that well, it puts you there. One day we're going to be standing face to face with the creator of the universe, hard to fathom. And what do you think you'll do? And he says, I'll stand forever in the light of his amazing grace.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's number 5. It could be number 3, but it made the list.
Yeah.
Such a good pick, man. A classic. Love that. All right, so my number 5 is, if you know country music, you know this song. I literally looked today. It's 20 years old, which I didn't realize. If you're a radio person, they still play this on the radio a ton. And the song is That's What I Love About Sunday.
Such a good song.
Craig Morgan, who's got a few others we probably could have thrown on the list
Exactly.
But this has got to be the one that you pick from the list. It is like the perfect description of Sundays in the South.
Yes.
And if it's not what your Sunday looks like, it's what you want your Sunday to look like in the
You
South.
should want that as your Sunday.
Yes,
It's the
man.
perfect Sunday.
It's so good. So you've got verse 1, there's a ton of stuff about going to church in the morning, which is just so well written. You've got kind of that slow Sunday afternoon with family, whether it's like outside, hanging around, reading the newspaper, which I know we all three still do. Read the physical newspaper
pick it
every
up every
Sunday
morning. What are
afternoon.
you
Of
talking about?
course, yeah.
But my favorite line is like right on the top of verse 1, where he's talking about sweet Miss Betty likes to sing off key in the pew behind me.
We all know one.
Dude.
And me.
It's so good, man. It is so good. Like, that's where you start the song, and you literally do not look back from
And it's just observational. Like that
Yes,
whole first
yes.
verse is observational. It's like, this is what I'm actually seeing in church. It's like, man, I need to write more.
Yes.
Yeah, so well written. He starts giving, I mean, again, if you're going to name some people like that you imagine in church, you've got sweet Miss Betty, you've got a guy named Raymond wearing a suit. That's the
And
person.
he's normally covered in oil and grease.
Yes.
That's what
It's blue collar, but he is wearing a suit on Sunday. That is so Southern. So anyway, awesome song. You probably have heard it. Even if you don't like country music, it's a very prevalent song. Had to go on my list. That's number 5.
He's also a pretty strong believer. I saw him, my wife and I went to, if you haven't gone, I recommend it, the Grand Ole Opry. We went for the first time last year, and it was incredible. And Craig Morgan was there. Also, Ricky Skaggs, we talked about him earlier. He was there that night. And before Craig lit into this song, he was talking about his faith. And just an incredible human being. Also, really great vocalist and songwriter. And I had heard recently that he had like rejoined the military or something.
Whoa,
like
really?
That. Yes. You know, because he's a veteran.
Okay.
So, but yeah, love Craig Morgan.
Dude, awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, Carleigh, you're up again.
All right. So my number 4 pick is by a man I've already previously mentioned. And there are just some men that are famous or whatever that I'm like, I wish they would adopt me in a small capacity. And this man is goes by the name of George Strait, and I love him so much.
The king.
The king. I have God, who is my capital K king, and then George Strait is my lowercase k king. But he has this song called I Saw God Today, and I was like, I love his discography so much. You got Troubadour, you've got like Oceanfront Property. I mean, just all these great songs. I think I sometimes forget about this song, but like the chorus, I've been to church, I've read the book, I know he's here, but I don't look. Near as often as I should, yeah, I know I should. His fingerprints are everywhere, I just slow down to stop and stare. Open my eyes, and man, I swear I saw God today. And it just, I mean, I'm literally, like one of my questions that I wrote down was like, do I look for God every day? And there's so much. He talks about like the flowers coming out of the concrete and all this kind of stuff. And then the last verse is just, again, do you want to cry? Sure. It says, got my face pressed up against the nursery glass. She's sleeping like a rock, my name on her wrist, wearing tiny pink socks. She's got my nose, she's got her mama's eyes, my brand new baby girl, she's a miracle. I saw God today.
Dude.
That's it. That's
Drop the mic, George.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? He did. That's my number 4 pick.
He did. He got, this year, he got the like Lifetime Achievement Award at the CMAs.
As he should.
He has more number ones than any other country artist.
He's insane.
It's
He's
unbelievable.
insane.
It's like
And also,
50-something number
and also,
ones.
let me say something else. He looks great while doing it. He has aged well.
He's a handsome man.
He is a handsome
I can
man.
admit that.
Yeah, thank you. Honesty hour.
Yeah, of course.
My number 4 pick is a song called "Lead Me Home" by Jamey Johnson. So I've always loved Jamey Johnson. He's a songwriter. He's a lot like I would say similar to Chris Stapleton in the fact that a lot of people have heard his songs, even if it doesn't have Jamey Johnson beside it. But love Jamey Johnson. He has this song called "Lead Me Home," and again, it's talking about it's kind of one of those funeral songs. And the reason I know this song really well is I had a friend that passed away years back, and this was played at his funeral while like a slideshow happened. And so I don't really listen to this song a lot because it just makes me really sad. But there's an encouraging factor to it. And I think it's a tribute as well. We were talking about how gospel influences country as well. Like, take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home. Like, he literally says that. Take my hand, Lord, lead me home. And so really, really cool song. It'll actually be on the Spotify play. All of these songs will.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 4.
Dude, great pick. You're a big Jamey Johnson guy.
I love Jamey.
If you aren't, though,
this
we
is-
have there
You
is other
are.
things.
If you aren't, you are. Unless you just don't like country
Exactly.
music, because he's wrote.
Have you heard In Color?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or George Strait's "Give It Away" was written by Jamey Johnson.
Yeah, I
So
learned that right before we recorded. I think you mentioned a few minutes ago. I did not know that.
The other thing is he's very introverted. I feel like because I've seen him a few times in concert, and he doesn't talk the whole time. He doesn't even say like "Good evening" or anything.
It's like, I'm here to play music.
But he plays his full discography and walks
Yeah.
off stage. And
Insane.
He's a mysterious one, but I really like him.
That's awesome. Love it. All right. My number 4, I'm cheating a little bit here because this technically isn't a song about God. It's also a very new song, but it is a song about gratitude. So my number 4 is a song called 5-Leaf Clover by Luke Combs.
Which is a hometown hero.
Hometown hero, had to represent local guy.
Go Rockets.
Got to have it on there. Yeah, AC Reynolds graduate. Let's go. And so anyway, song is a whole thing about gratitude. It's so simple, but I love it. Love the last chorus line. The whole thing kind of repeats several times, but talks about, I've hit my knees, thankful as can be, but the one thing I can't get over is how a guy like me who'd have been fine with 3 wind up with a 5-leaf clover. But then the last time he does the chorus is like, how'd a guy like me who could have wound up with weeds wind up with a 5-leaf clover? So he's just going through, the verses are just going through like little things that he is grateful for.
Yeah.
And some of them I can relate to and some of them I can't. But it just turns on gratitude when you
Yeah.
hear that song.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love it. Again, very, very new song, but it had to make my list. So that's my number 4.
That's awesome. I guess we're going on to our number 3s.
Yeah. We're
Okay.
scooting.
Okay. I love a trio. I really do. I love this trio. But unfortunately, my number 1 trio is Gary LaFox, Joe Don Rooney, and Jay DeMarcus. And they are Rascal Flatts.
Yes.
And I love those 3 boys so much. And they have a song that came out in 2012 called Changed. And I have listened to the song countless times, and then Holden reminded me of it as we were kind of crafting our list. And I was like, wait a second.
Hold up.
This is going on my list. These boys changed my life with this song. But the chorus is like, I got off track, I made mistakes, backslid my way into that place where souls get lost, lines get crossed, and the pain won't go away. I hit my knees, now here I stand. There I was, now here I am changed. Love it. Classic. I mean, oh my goodness. It's the storytelling aspect that they put you there.
Yeah.
And so I love the song and I love those boys.
Gotta have Rascal Flatts on the list.
Gotta have them. They're such rascals.
So where's your number 2 trio?
Yes, absolutely.
As long as they're on the list.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I put Gary probably on the Mount Rushmore of country vocalists.
Yeah.
He is. If you listen, his range, but his vocal control is absurd.
Yes. There is a list on my phone. I'm a big list person, so this is kind of like right up my alley. Yeah. But I have a list in my phone of like just like singers that are animals in my mind, and he is on that list. Him, Chris Stapleton, Bear Reinhardt. Yeah. But I love him so much. He's just fantastic. And they're coming out with a what do they call that? All their hits. They're like reimagining them. And the album comes out like
That's cool.
maybe this
like a remaster almost.
Maybe tomorrow. Yeah. Don't quote me on that, but June 6th.
Yeah.
Are you getting a sponsorship for saying that?
No, I would love to though. I love these boys.
If Carleigh came in here sponsored by Rascal Flatts.
Today's episode is sponsored to you by Rascal Flatts.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
One of the things I love about Rascal Flatts is how much all of their music is influenced by faith.
Yeah.
And particularly like several different songs and albums and things like that. But you picked a great one.
Well, and they've they've walked through some really hard things as a band. And to now be doing this album again where like they once were breaking up, they once weren't going on tour, like I think that they would all say that they are now better than where they were a couple years ago. And they're also, I mean, Gary is all over TikTok talking about his faith. So I
Did
love
you see
him.
his cover of Holy Forever?
No.
Oh, I'm going to send it to you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He did. It wasn't like a full-blown cover, but he's just
He does little snippets.
selfie, like,
Oh, he
you know,
loves a selfie.
video. And
Yeah.
it was like, and the angels cry.
And you're like, I'm there. Yes.
It was incredibly good. I'll have to send it to you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We're at number 3, right?
Yeah.
We're at number 3.
Okay.
I'm so mad. The longer time passes and I realize that you got to put this on your list and I didn't, the more mad I get.
Yeah.
I'm bitter. I need to confess some bitterness.
song
This
I'm
song that you're about to
okay.
do.
So, yeah, this one comes from a North Carolina native. His name is Randy Travis. The song is called Three Wooden Crosses. And can we just talk about how the best country names is you either have 2 first names or 2 last names?
That's so true.
So
Well,
let's
we
talk
got
about
2 first names.
Randy Travis.
Yeah, man.
He
That's
was
so true.
destined to be good. Also on my Mount Rushmore of country vocalists would
Has
be
to be.
Randy Travis. Yeah, I mean, just you cut on a Randy Travis song, you immediately know who's singing. But Three Wooden Crosses is a story. It'll be on the playlist as well if you haven't heard it, about a farmer, a teacher, a hooker, and a preacher on a bus
Yep.
to Mexico. And so the bus gets in a wreck. I'm going to try not to
Yeah,
butcher
you're
the
summarizing
story.
the story.
Yeah, so anyway.
Spoiler alert.
The 18-wheelers can't stop on a dime. So
Yep.
the bus gets in a wreck, and the farmer and the teacher and the preacher all pass away. But before the preacher dies, he hands the Bible to the hooker. And so at the end of, I don't even like using that word, but
Yeah,
it's
but
in
that's
the song.
what he's using in the song,
So, but he hands the Bible to that. And so then fast forward to the last verse of the song is a preacher standing on stage telling the story of why there's 3 wooden crosses on the right side of the highway. And he said, bless the preacher who gave this Bible to my mom who handed it to me.
Man.
And so
Dude.
Talk about FBCs, okay?
full body chills.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful
Yeah,
story. And there's 3 wooden crosses on the right side of the highway. Why there's not 4 of them, heaven only knows. And so, but the pastor handed the word of God
Dude.
to this lady, and then she passes along to her son who becomes a preacher. And
Yeah,
it's
man.
like an M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Yeah.
They just
in the
don't make
middle.
them like they used to.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, it's such a good song.
We definitely spoiled the song, but it doesn't matter if you know how it ends. It's still
Like,
great.
whoa,
Yeah.
no way.
But the first time you hear that song,
crazy.
it's like the whole time you're like, dang, this is weird. And then at the end, you're like, oh my
I would have
gosh.
loved to have been in the writing room
Oh, man.
Yes.
of like, how do we get here?
Somebody just started and they had that idea. They probably had a full song idea from the get-go.
That's true.
Yeah, you don't stumble on that, I don't think.
That could be a movie, though. That song could
Oh,
be a
yeah.
movie.
That's true.
100%. The random unrelated fun fact about Randy Travis. So you said he's from North Carolina. He's from this little town called Marshville,
Yeah.
which I don't know exactly where it is, but I know I've driven through there. And when you drive through Marshville, the sign that you see when you enter the town, it says Marshville, North Carolina, home of Randy Travis. And they have that like on
it.
all of their signs. It's so cool, man.
Wouldn't you?
I
They
would.
should put Randy Travis on the Welcome to North Carolina sign.
Yeah.
Him,
I think they'd
Michael
come.
Jordan. I mean, who else would be on that sign? Yeah.
Just those two. on
Just
the-
those 2 boys, just their
Luke
faces
Holmes,
right there.
Like you, but
Yeah.
just Michael Jordan and
Eric
Randy
Church.
Travis. Eric Church, yeah.
Listen, North Carolina, we've got, even just in the country music, you just named 3 country music greats right there. So we're producing it, man. That's a great
And the
song.
fact that North Carolina is in Appalachia.
Exactly.
Childbirth.
Feel free to jump right back into some history if you need to, man.
Well, no, I'll tell you this. If you want to sound like a local, say you're not a local. If you say Appalachia and not Appalachia, you will sound more local.
oh, yeah.
If I say
You-
Appalachia,
Yeah, so
Okay.
people that say Appalachia or Appalachian State,
get out here.
say Appalachian.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm no grammar person here. I'm
But
just
that's
gonna
a
let
big
you know.
deal.
But that's
That's a big deal.
it's my hill worth dying on. I'm kidding. I'm
Okay,
kidding.
what's your 3,
It's
Christian?
a great pick. I'm just still bitter that
It's
it didn't
okay.
get to be on my list. But it's all right. We shared. And we've got some later that, we all had to kind of make sacrifices. So, all right, my number 3 is going out on a limb a little bit. It's kind of a random pick. But I think, hot take, I think this is one of the best country music songs ever written.
Whoa.
It is so
Okay.
good. It, for me, perfectly exemplifies what country music is all about, and that is the song Bible in a 44 by Ashley McBryde.
Love that girl.
Newer song, can't be more than 10 years old, probably 8 or 9 years old. But it's a song written about her father, who's in the song has already passed away, and what kind of man he was. And she's kind of reflecting on the man that he was, and that's where the title of the song comes from. But the chorus is so good. It said, he'd see through a lie like an old screen door, which is a Southern saying for sure. He taught me how to hunt and how to love the Lord. He carried a Bible and a 44, which is just such a good line. And then the kind of the repeated phrase throughout the song is, and they just don't make them like that no more. It's so good. But I love there's a part in there where she's describing her dad, and she's like, hey, he'd be the last one off if the ship went down. He's the kind of man it feels good to be around. And you're just like, dude, that's who I want to be as a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then fun twist that I can't relate to as a non-musician, but you can because you shared your story earlier. At the end of the song, she's like, the song that I'm playing this song on the guitar that he left me.
Oh, and then Holden just starts crying.
Yeah.
And
You can't see and you're trying to drive and it's a whole
and
thing.
I have to pull over.
Yeah.
Luckily, my windows are tinted.
Exactly.
So people don't see.
They don't know. That's
The
why
moment
they're
that you're
tinted.
experiencing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just having something that belongs to a family member
Yeah.
who is, revered as, the greatest in the family.
Dude.
Yeah.
And, my grandpa to have that and the story behind his guitar and then getting to play it. So I'll tell this story briefly.
Yeah.
I got this guitar and I was serving on staff at a church in South Carolina, and my grandmother came to visit. And that particular Sunday, I was not playing my grandfather's guitar. And part of it was when I first took possession of it, I was afraid to damage it. I was like, I just need to keep this forever and pass it down to a grandkid.
Yeah, you don't mess it up.
And do what he did. And she goes, where's his guitar at? And I said, well, it's back in my office. And she goes, why didn't you play it? And I took her back to my office to show her where it was. And she goes, why didn't you play it? I said, well, I'm trying not to scratch it up or, put wear and tear on it. And she goes, well, if he were here right now, he'd be wondering why you're not playing it. He would want you to play it. He would tell you not to be worried about damaging it. And so ever since then, I've played it as much as I can.
You never played a different guitar after that.
I've had quite a bit of repairs done to it over the years now, but it just means a lot. Every time I pick it up, if I leave it in the case, it's kind of interesting, but if I leave it in the case for a long time and I open it up, it still smells like him. And it gets me every time. And you pick it up and you play that first strum and it's like, man, his hands played this guitar before I ever knew how to play anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's special.
but yeah, Ashley McBryde is
Dude, that is
also
such a good
just
story.
one of the most talented.
So talented,
Another artist that a lot of people listen to country music don't.
Yeah.
That's
know.
true.
And what was it? The Video Awards last year that she covered Chris Christopherson's "Help Me Make It Through the Night."
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a great song.
She wasn't up there with the band. She wasn't dancing around with strobe lights.
No, yeah.
She was up there with an acoustic
man.
by herself, and it was so good.
Yeah.
She goes on the list of it can just be her.
Absolute
and I
talent.
don't need the who sits, what's it's and galore. I just need her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things, two random things. One, if you want to go back to the North Carolina thing, there is a live version of this song with Eric Church. It's awesome. Two, thinking about the song and your story you just shared, one of the things I love about country music, we've talked a little about how country music is forward facing. That's often talking about heaven. It's also there's so much legacy in country music for your own family and ancestors, but also the history of country music and honoring the people who came before you. And it's just this song to me is a perfect
I think it
example
was
of that.
for the CMA's 50th, maybe they did a song. What do we call that? A mashup between what was it? Country Roads and I Will Always Love You.
Yes.
And it was all these people, Lady A and who else? Brad Paisley, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, Carrie Underwood, Brad Paisley. It was all these people, and you just watch country music evolve.
Yeah.
Over the years, over the last 50 years. Vince Gill, just Martina McBryde. And you're like, wow. And luckily, I like to play this game where I listen to the song and I'm like, who's singing?
Yeah.
But you had a lot of newer artists,
Yeah.
but then you had the people that they now stand on the shoulders of those.
Yes.
they've trailblazed for them.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny, like Martina trailblazed for Carrie Underwood, and like Carrie Underwood has now trailblazed for somebody else as well.
Yeah.
Like it just keeps going on and on. But I love to get to watch how country music has evolved and how they honor people who have been doing it for a long time, like George Strait.
Yeah.
I love that as well.
So cool. All right, we're getting into our like top picks now.
I know.
You're up.
Real.
Number 2.
I know. So I'll start with a story as well. When I used to stay home from school, I told them the story before we started. When I used to stay home from school because I was sick, I'll put that in quotes.
Air quotes.
I was sometimes sick and I sometimes wasn't. I would sit in my parents' bed and I would eat ramen noodles and I would watch the CMT countdown.
Yeah.
And like I still remember being 11 and just like having the whole house to myself. Are you kidding? I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. So like all this is mine.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the music video for Temporary Home by Carrie Underwood. And first of all, just being wrecked by her. I mean, I remember voting for her on American Idol. Okay.
Yeah.
I was a tiny tot, but I was like, she will win.
You're like, I'm voting.
She's against Bo Bice. If you don't if you remember that.
Oh.
Bo Bice was who it came down to between them two, which is kind of
crazy.
I wonder what he's doing. Probably something good.
Probably something good.
Yeah.
She's obviously doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard.
I've heard, yeah. But I remember hearing that song and watching the music video as well. And you're like, oh my gosh. The story that it tells, like, again, that's what we've talked about this entire time. But yeah, this music video just wrecked me. And I also, another little story is I used to have an iPod Shuffle. Do you guys remember those?
Oh, yes.
It's just a tiny square. So like I didn't have the camera or
There's
like
no screen.
There's no screen.
It was just a
which is
button.
like, I'm going to say this, embarrassing. But it's fine. And it was like lime green. And I had a hard time going to sleep as a kid for some reason, maybe because my mind races. And I remember like pulling up my iPod Shuffle and that entire album, I think it was called Play On.
Yep.
And that song used to essentially put me to sleep when I was growing up.
Dude.
On my iPod Shuffle, which was awesome. So I love Carrie Underwood. She's incredible. I mean, it's kind of what we talked about, I think, Lead Me Home. Like, it's the same, or Where I Get Where I'm Going. Like, we do not belong here. This is so, I think it was the first song I remember being like, oh, wait, this is what I'm learning about in church.
Yeah.
But it's from somebody who's, like, a Christian, but this is not her main field.
Yeah, she's on mainstream television.
Yeah.
Singing about it. Yeah.
So I love this song. It's incredibly special. 2009.
cool.
What a great year.
So I have a question. We talked about this already, so it's not like putting you on the spot. You guys want to sing it?
Sure.
Let's go.
Let me channel my inner Carrie Underwood. Let me go back to the music video.
09, eating ramen.
Yeah, eating ramen. Staying home from school.
It was CMT and The Price is Right.
Yes.
If you were at home during the day growing up,
There was
sick,
nothing like it.
you know, it was Price is Right. And yeah, I did the same thing. And I said, some of these kids these days didn't grow up having to wait
Yeah.
for their favorite song on a countdown, and it shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do this. Temporary Home by Carrie Underwood.
Yep.
Little boy, 6 years old, a little too used to being alone. Another new mom and dad, another school, another house that'll never be home. When people ask him how he likes this place, he looks up and says with a smile on his face, "This is my temporary home. It's not where I belong. Windows in rooms that I'm passing through. This is just a stop on the way to where I'm going. I'm not afraid because I know this is my temporary home."
Goodness.
You singing Carrie Underwood is like hand in glove. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
I just want to say
A little
that.
strange. We should have just built the whole podcast around just doing that a
Are
few
you
times over.
here with us right now?
She
What's
in
happening?
the room.
If you're listening and you're wondering what FBC is, you just experienced it at home listening to that. Thank y'all. That was awesome, man. That's so good. All right, Holden, you got to follow that, man.
Well, we're going to number twos, or we're already at number twos.
This is number 2.
Mine is I Believe by Diamond Rio. So that song came a little later in my listening to Diamond Rio, but Diamond Rio is one of my dad's favorite country artists, and he had a hits album from them back in the day, and I just remember listening to the whole album. I start walking your way.
Yeah, man.
But with that, they released a song later on called I Believe, and every time the 3-part harmony lights into I Know There Are More Than Angels Watching Over Me, I Believe, it gets me every single time.
Every time.
They actually have, I believe they have an album of songs of faith. Some of them are like worship songs.
That's awesome.
Like actual church worship songs. And always loved Diamond Rio. Marty Rowe's like on my, another one of my Mount Rushmore vocalists. And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know, like if you didn't listen, because it's not like they released a ton of albums after the 90s, which is, in my opinion, some of the greatest country music ever written was
Exactly.
in the 90s. But Diamond Rio is up there at the top. I Believe is the name of the song. It'll be on the list. But I just love that song.
I got to break it to you, man. Mount Rushmore, you only get 4, and I think you've named 8 since we've been sitting here.
Oh, I have a big
Looks like
Mount
you're having 2
It's
mounts.
We're
yeah,
gonna-
there's multiple mounts in this
We're
situation.
going to etch it into black balsam or
Dude,
Yeah, absolutely.
looking glass. We'll etch it into looking
Okay,
glass.
let's go
it's
for
fine.
it.
We'll do what we need to do. All right, I'm up, right?
You're up.
Okay, number 2. One of the greatest songs ever made. Love Without End, Amen. Another George Strait,
boy.
the
Top
king.
tier. Top tier.
This helped me not be so bitter about not having Randy Travis on the list, the fact that I got to put this song on my list. If you don't know, this is a song about the relationship between a father and a son. So the first part of the song is like about being a son, being a kid. Then the second part of the song is about being a father. And both of those situations, so that as a son, his dad tells him, basically talks to him about how his love is not anything that's going to change. So daddies don't just love their children every now and then. It's a love without end, amen, which is great. It already is a great country song right there. You've got a great song.
And
Verse
then-
2, he starts passing that down to his son. So now he's telling his son the same thing that his father told him. And that's an incredible country song. And then the final verse and chorus, you have him standing at the gates of heaven, and he's got God telling that to him as a beloved son.
FBC.
FBC, come
And
on.
then you're just toast. So it's in that same world as Three Wooden Crosses, where it's so well written. It's got a great twist at the end that brings everything together.
I love a twist.
Gosh, it's a great song. I don't really need to talk too much about it. It's just incredible.
You're going to want to listen to that song.
Yeah.
It is, that, I would say that if you hadn't already picked that one, it would have been on my list
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
got to be on one of these. So sweet. Okay, so we've got through 2, which means we all have to do number 1s.
Yes.
Before we do that, though, you get to quickly run through some honorable mentions because none of us have the self-control to just pick 5 songs.
No.
So you get to throw out some additional ones that you like, even though they didn't make your top 5. Okay, so Carleigh, do you want to go first?
I would love to. Thank you so much. I have 4, and they're all very different, but newer, I will
Yeah.
say. My first is a song called Craig, and it's by Walker Hayes, which I lived in Mobile for a period of time, and he is from Mobile, so little Alabama shout out. Basically, he sings, just a forewarning, and basically he's telling the story of this guy named Craig who essentially showed the tangible love of Christ to him and his family. He had been dropped from his label. They had like 6 kids. I think he tells the story of like they had 6 kids but 5 seatbelts. And at the end of a soccer game, they were like walking back to the car, and Craig shows up and like hands him the keys to this minivan. And it's just so sweet because it's this sweet story. I think my mom and I heard it on the radio. And of course my mom's weeping. And but literally just like something it was big to him at the time, and to Craig it was so simple. And that's what, not to, Jesus juke, but that's what we like our whole mission at our church is like go and make disciples. And literally that is what, because of the kindness and the love that Craig showed the Hayes family, like now we get to see the fruits of that.
That's a great one.
So that's Craig. My next
Shout
one.
out to Craig.
Shout out to Craig. We love you, Craig.
You're my boy, Craig.
My next one is, so I'm not like the hugest like Luke Bryan fan, but he has this newer song called Jesus About My Kids. And I am not a mother, but I do have 2 wonderful parents. Yeah. And it makes me think about them because the whole thing is like, I used to talk to my kids about Jesus, and now I talk to Jesus about my kids. And you're like, Luke, honey. And so I love that one. It is very sweet if you're a parent. My third is a song that I heard. I'm a big Thomas Rhett fan. I think he's a sweetie. I think his family's awesome. And he came out with a song in 2022 called Death Row. And it's him, Tyler Hubbard, who's from Florida Georgia Line, or just formerly known as, and Russell Dickerson. And these 3 guys went to a prison and sang for the inmates on death row. And literally just fantastic. A lot of storytelling, but the bridge, they sang, one of them sang Amazing Grace, How Sweet the Sound, with 1 hand raised and 1 foot chained to the ground. Yeah, he sang it like he knew he'd just been found. Yeah, that next week they laid him 6 feet down. Let's brace ourselves.
Hang on. Yeah.
It's just such like just a cool story. And I don't know. I love the song when I heard it, because it's like, you know, you write songs about his kids and you write songs about his wife, and then all of a sudden you get like hit with this one. You're like, this was not, you know,
Wasn't planning
on my bingo card. And then my last one, I love Kenny Rogers. Yeah. Okay. There is this incriminating video of me watching the music video to You Can't Make Old Friends, which is my 4th honorable mention. My dad is making me watch it. My dad also broke the news to me in a Lowe's parking lot that Kenny Rogers had passed away. And that was wrong place, wrong time.
Not at Lowe's.
Yeah, not at Lowe's, Dad.
Like, Lowe's, Dad,
we're getting 2x4s. Like, I really don't need to know this. But I love this song. But basically, this song he sings with Dolly Parton. Okay, so just like 2 figures. Yeah. There's the bridge, and when St. Peter opens the gate and you come walking in, I will be there waiting for you because you can't make old friends. And then it goes on to say, this is Dolly Parton singing. Mind you, I had found this song post him passing away. She sings, when I'm out on the stage all alone and I hear the music begin, we all know the show must go on, but you can't make old friends. And so she's singing that all by her lonesome, and she actually is going to continue to sing that all by her lonesome because now he is gone. But I don't know. I love the song, and you really can't make old friends.
It's a good list, man.
I think we're making old friends right now.
If we record for another 4 hours.
Did we just make old friends?
I think we did.
That's a good list.
So those are my honorable mentions.
Those are excellent. Top tier.
Thank you
and
so
I've
much.
never heard Craig, but I'm going to go listen to it now.
Yeah.
It's great.
Walker Hayes is another one of those guys that a lot of people don't know is an incredible guitar player.
Yeah.
Incredible. My honorable mentions, the list could go on for a year.
And your list almost does.
Yes.
You actually sent us your honorable mentions and then started sending us additional honorable mentions. Which is fine.
They all need honor. No. Outdo one another in showing honor.
Yes.
You did.
The first one is Baptism by Randy Travis. Have y'all heard that
Great song.
I don't know if I've heard that
Thought
song.
about putting it on the list.
Down with the old man and up with the new. Raised to walk in the light and truth.
Yeah.
I didn't see no angels, just a few saints on the shore. Felt like a newborn baby cradled up in the arms of the Lord. It is
Randy.
an incredible song. He does all those music. I felt like a newborn baby.
Yeah.
Like that. But it is an incredible song, and he sings it so well.
That's awesome.
Next one is kind of cheating because they didn't write it, but How Great Thou Art, Vince Gill and Carrie Underwood's version. I know y'all have heard it. It is it is so good. Sometimes when I'm feeling sad, I just YouTube that.
Well, and also like the little guitar solo that Vince just like casually does.
He's such a good
Because you
guitar
need
player.
a moment to breathe. And he
Yes.
gave you that. He gave us that.
He did. I needed to breathe for a minute because it was just it is the greatest version of that song in my opinion.
That was also something I listened to on my iPod Shuffle.
On your shuffle, no screen.
Yeah.
No screen, iPod Shuffle, going to sleep.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, that's a great one. If you haven't seen that one or heard that one, look it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It may be on Spotify. We might be able to find it.
We'll see.
If not, it's definitely on YouTube. Then honorable mention, Were You There by Johnny Cash.
Come on.
If you know, you know. No, it is a good song. He didn't write that one either, but he did a really
Others have
great
performed
version.
it, too.
He did. Yeah,
Yes.
I've heard. And then I kind of lean into the bluegrass there, but I'll say this. I'm adding one. Can't Even Walk Without You Holding My Hand. Cody Johnson,
Oh my gosh.
that version. That it is
The
just.
fact that
about
we haven't
that.
mentioned him up until this point
Yeah,
is
it's kinda
crazy.
sad.
I love him though. I love him. If you're watching this, I love you so much.
He's one of the few country artists right now that are just keeping country music alive.
Correct. That's so true. Yeah.
And yeah, I Can't Even Walk Without You Holding My Hand. Incredible song. Also credible, I would say.
It's a credible song. It's both and.
So next, I'll have a few here. So the Stanley Brothers, I have 2 songs by them. Angel Band, which it's in the movie Oh Brother Where Art Thou, but
Yeah.
Ralph Stanley and Stanley Brothers. And then Gloryland. If you want to walk outside, I'll tell you this. Walk outside if you have a nice mountain view that you can look at. Say you go hiking in the morning, okay? Try to go in the morning while it's still cool.
Yep.
Still dew everywhere.
Yeah.
Listen to Gloryland.
Come on.
While you're and you will just cry and you'll feel nostalgic. And but Ralph Stanley is probably one of my favorite vocalists. Bluegrass Mount Rushmore. It's a
Yeah.
different Mount Rushmore.
Different mount. Yes.
Thanks for clarifying.
And Ricky Skaggs and Keith Whitley kind of got their start with the Stanley Brothers way back in the day, which Ricky Skaggs, Hallelujah, I'm
Yeah.
Ready to Go. If you want to have a good time, like singing about heaven, listen to that song. And then, hey, shameless plug, going to be releasing some of my own country, Christian,
Yay.
and everything in between tunes. It's just, but those will be coming out soon. So if you like Christian music, and you also like country music, hopefully
With a country
I'll have-
flair.
Yeah, a country flair, if you will.
If you will.
I'll be releasing a few here soon that I'm really excited about.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to make you talk about it. So the
I
fact that you
didn't
brought it
want
up,
to, but I saw it on the list, Holden Originals.
Yeah.
With the S in parentheses.
It's got the parentheses.
But yeah, I have obviously we have a passion for country music.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Carleigh's BGV's on a lot of those songs. So, or at
what?
least the ones we haven't recorded yet probably will be. So
I might. We'll see.
You might
he
partake.
might hop in, play the banjo.
The
That's a great
tambourine. You
list.
can be the tambourine.
All right. I got 3. I actually forgot to put one on my doc, and then you reminded me a second ago because you actually gifted it to me, and then I almost didn't use it. So I've got newer songs just for fun to kind of mix it up here. So number 1, brand new song,
Brand new.
Morgan Wallen and Ernest. You may not like Morgan Wallen. That's fine. He did not write it. Written by somebody else. It is called The Dealer.
Love it.
And it is super reminiscent of that classic song, The Gambler, by your guy, Kenny Rogers.
My boy.
So it's kind of about cards, but it's also definitely about God. So the whole premise kind of comes together with the line, guess that's life, and that's why I remind myself to spend more time talking to the dealer than worrying about the hands I'm dealt. So it's
Talk about a line.
that's a good line. Talking
It's a
about
great
prayer,
line.
good song. I've been listening to that a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, another new song is called My Last Rodeo by Riley Green, and it is sad. I'll just go ahead and let you know. That is
Thank
a
you for
sad
the
song.
thank you for the warning.
Be prepared. It's also great, though. So it's about what I assume is a grandfather. I don't know that it explicitly says, who's on his deathbed, and he's kind of giving his last words to the family, and it's powerful. But he's sort of talking about, hey, the good Lord might want to call this cowboy home, but this is not my last rodeo. It's another one of those, this is
Love.
not my final place songs. There's this wild line in there where he's talking about being reunited with his wife, who's already passed away, and he says, I'm so close I can smell her perfume.
Oh,
Yeah.
Riley.
Whew! So that's a great song.
Tears.
And then lastly, the one I almost forgot to throw in there, not specifically about God, but one of the best country songs written in the last decade is a song called Dirt Cheap by our guy Cody Johnson. If you have not heard that song, it is so good. I just
The
can't
music
stop
video
listening
is
to it.
also
Yeah.
great as well.
Good
you know
call
when
on
you
that.
first said it, I thought it was by Dirt. which is a different one. Dirt Cheap. I have heard
There's
that
more.
song.
Yeah, Dirt Cheap.
By
Sorry.
Dirt is also another song as well.
Yeah.
My dirt.
A lot of dirt in country, which is
A lot of dirt.
Red Dirt
predictable.
Road.
Love Red
Another
Dirt Road.
fantastic
We're
song.
gonna have a separate playlist called Dirt Country.
Our favorite song, country
It's
songs
just-
about dirt.
It's
Just
just
dirt.
country
We
songs
have
about
4
dirt.
viewers on that.
Yeah.
So that's honorable mention. All right, we're gonna do number 1. So these, I think I'm safe in saying this. You guys tell me if you disagree. This is not necessarily what we are saying is the best country song about God.
Yeah,
It is
don't
our
at
favorite.
me or
It is our
Christian
favorite
or
country
Carleigh.
song about God. I'm saying that to protect myself
Yeah.
mostly, but all right, number 1 song, Carleigh, take it away.
Okay.
Brace
so,
yourself. Be
Yeah.
ready.
Brace yourself. My number 1 song is Believe by Brooks and Dunn. Again, I love these boys so much. They have recently done newer renditions with like new and up and coming artists,
Yeah.
which I've loved. But there's nothing like the classic version. You know, just the two of them, Ronnie Dunn. Is it Kix Brooks?
Hicks Brooks.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to say the wrong
2
thing.
last names.
Couple plurals.
You're right about that. But the chorus, I raise my hands, I bow my head. I'm finding more and more truth in the words written in red. They tell me that there's more to life than just what I can see. Oh, I believe. But let me raise you. There's a line in the bridge, and it says, "You can't tell me it all ends in a slow ride in a hearse." Tell me that there's more to life than just what I can see. I believe. I love that this song, I did use my robot, my ChatGPT robot. And I was like, tell me, like, what do you think when you know, my robot? And she said, because I think she's a woman, this song is raw, real, and reverent. And I believe that it is.
3
And
Rs.
I would love to be neighbors with a man like Old Man Wrigley, and just like to learn. But literally, like, that's what I love about multi-generations is that thank you for telling us your stories of God at work, your stories of what he's done, your stories of what he's done in your family's life and your life. We need more people to share it.
Yeah.
So the talking, the storytelling is what the beauty, like what we've said this entire time, is the beauty of country music. And so it's a musical testimony essentially.
Yeah.
Such a good pick.
So thank you. That was one
Incredible.
that I had to call dibs on.
Super good. And they recently did that like at an award show.
I was just about to say another
did.
CMA shout out. They did it live.
Was it with gelatin roll?
It was with Jelly Roll, yes. You're correct. It was.
Yeah. Which he just did a song with Brandon Lake, right?
Yeah.
He did.
Hard
Yeah.
Fought Hallelujah.
It's a
He
little
did.
funny that he's not on the list, but that's okay. It's fine.
He'll get there.
Yeah, one day.
In a couple years.
He's got time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Holden, you're number 1.
All right. So this one I will say is my favorite song of faith that is also country. As you can see, there's a lot of the songs I pick are songs of lament, which is in Scripture. If you read the Psalms, when David writes some of them, he's not having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes he is, but oftentimes he's crying out to God or he's grieving
Yeah.
a loss. And so this song is a song where Vince Gill is grieving. So the song is called Go Rest High on That Mountain. A little history about this song. So it was a 2-parter in how he wrote it. So a lot of people that know this song would know Vince finished the song after his brother passed away and in a way to grieve. But he actually started writing the song when he was grieving the death of Keith Whitley. So
Oh, wow.
Keith Whitley died in 1989, and if you in the first verse he says, "You were no stranger to the rain." And that's a Keith Whitley song,
Yeah.
I'm no stranger to the rain. And so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he
Wow.
started writing that song whenever Keith passed away, which was a tragic death.
Yeah.
And Keith made 3 albums and is just absolutely shocked the world, you know, just with his talent and his vocal ability. But Vince began writing that song after Keith died and then finished the song after his brother died. So you can hear the progression of his grief in that song. And so Go Rest High on That Mountain is, I feel like I've sang this song at a lot of funerals and it never gets old.
No.
Believe you me, there are songs that sometimes get old singing them. This one's not, and I think that Vince wrote it in a way that you feel.
Yeah,
You feel what he's writing about. So
that's awesome. You guys want to play it?
I would love to. You have to help me on this one, Carleigh.
Okay.
And I know your life on earth was trouble, and only you could know the pain. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You were no stranger to the rain. So go rest high on that mountain, 'cause son, your work on earth is done. And go to heaven shouting love for the Father and Son. And go to heaven shouting love for the Father and the Son.
Jeez. We might should have ended on that one. I'm kind of mad. I have to now give another song after that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yikes. Okay. Man, that
Make
was
country music sad again.
great. That was great. Thank y'all for doing that. All right. My number one pick, closing us out. I'm not sure how I had forced myself to go last here, but newer song. Shout out to Carleigh. So I think we all have kind of some blind spots and some gaps in our music. And somehow I just totally missed this guy until recently. And Carleigh was like, huh? And sent me Larry Fleet, and I cannot stop listening to this song. It's like one of my got to be on my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year. Amazing song called Where I Find God. Now he's got some great songs,
He does.
and a lot of them could be on the list. This is easily the best. Musically amazing. His voice is great. He's probably on one of the Rushmores.
Yeah, for
one
sure.
of the 5 Rushmores.
Looking Glass, Mount Looking Glass.
Yes.
We'll pick which one later. But this song is all about encountering God in everyday, ordinary places.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. Fun fact also, I learned today that I've been singing the wrong lyrics for
And that's
quite a
okay,
while.
Christian. That's okay.
I'm glad you're admitting this.
to admit
This
that.
is vulnerability.
I don't know anything about boats. So I've been singing the wrong lyrics, not realizing there's a boat brand smacked in the middle of this chorus. So from a bar stool to that Evinrude, which is a boat motor,
Boat motor, yeah.
No matter.
which I learned today.
What was your original?
it
What did
was-
you
did
you think it was? What
from
you
a
been
bar
singing?
stool to that living room. Now,
Which
it sounds
inherently
similar.
is not wrong.
It works.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound that different.
No. But it is still wrong.
The
Yeah.
Evinrude really ties in the second verse when he talks about day
Yeah.
out on the water. But I can get where it sounds like that.
Yes.
Yeah. When you go
We
back
give
and
you
listen to it
grace,
again,
but it's still wrong.
it's still wrong. Thank you for the grace
Also,
and
it's
truth.
worth noting, me and Christian almost fought over this being who got to put this on
Yeah,
our top 5.
yeah.
I put
This
in
is such a good song.
yeah, the moment that we sent, when we all agreed to do this, it was I was like, hey, by the way, you can call dibs on a song. And before anyone else could call dibs, I said, I get dibs on Where I Find God. But you got your one of mine, so it's even. All right, so from a bar stool to that Evinrude, Sunday morning in a church pew, in a deer stand or a hayfield, an interstate back to Nashville. Feel free to sub in Asheville for there if you want. A Chevrolet with the windows down. You can say Ford if you want. Or for you, a Tundra with the windows.
Toyota, yeah.
It doesn't have the same ring. Me and him just riding around. Sometimes whether I'm looking for him or not, that's where I find God. It is so good, man. So good.
And it's true. I remember hunting when I started hunting. I remember it might have been my dad or someone in my family or maybe one of the guys that took me with him when I was first starting out. He said, a day sitting in the tree stand, even if you don't see a deer one, is just there's something spiritual about being in nature, away from all the noise. I remember sitting in a tree stand early morning because you go in a lot of times when it's dark outside. And at one of the times I was living on the coast, so I had to drive inland to some farmland. And I remember thinking, I don't recognize these stars because there's so much light where I live, on the streets and stuff. and like just sitting there looking at the stars and hearing all the noises, and most of the time it's just a gray squirrel, but hearing all the noises
Dude.
and just taking in God's creation, that's where I find God.
Yep.
It is so easy to connect with.
Yeah,
It
100%.
really is.
Yeah.
And the song is written in such a way musically, it feels like you're doing that. Like you're
Yeah.
just kind of enjoying,
Yeah.
whether that's warm weather, being outside, whatever. You love this song, I know.
I love this song.
It's such a
I
good
love Larry Fleet.
Yeah,
He's fantastic. He just came to Asheville recently
yeah.
in April.
And he's a big guy like me, so I feel like when I see another big guy like Chris Stapleton, Luke Combs, Larry Fleet, the list goes on, I'm always like, hey, it's big guy.
Represent.
Yeah.
So all I really want you guys to do to close us out, I really want y'all to sing this.
I would love
Can we
to.
do that?
Okay.
I would love to.
Anything for you, Christian.
I remember playing this song for my parents on a boat.
Dude.
We were sitting out on a
Oh,
boat.
classic.
We're in Lake Gunnersville in Alabama. And during that time, I was like having a really rough time. And I just like threw it on the, the wireless speaker.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom going, "Who is this? Who is this?" I was like, "It's Larry Fleet." And she was like, "Man, this is a good song." And I'm like, "Tell me about it."
Yeah.
And then Christian stole it from me. No, I'm just kidding. All right,
No
let's
regrets about that at
give
all.
it a go. I don't blame you. The night I hit rock bottom, sitting on an old bar stool, he paid my tab and put me in a cab, but he didn't have to. He could see I was hurting. Oh, I wish I'd have got his name, 'cause I didn't feel worth saving, but he saved me just the same. A day out on the water, when the fish just wouldn't bite, I put my pole down and float around. It was just so quiet. I can hear my old man saying, "Son, just be still. You can't find peace like this in a bottle or a pill." From a bar stool to that heaven room, Sunday morning, a church pew, in a deer stand or a hayfield, the interstate back to Nashville, the Chevrolet with the windows down, me and him just riding around sometimes, whether I'm looking for him or not. That's where I find God.
Come on. It's almost wrong to stop that song midway through, but
I know, because the verses continue to be even better
Yeah.
than the last.
so
Yeah.
good. It's so good. Man, that is, it's not 15, it's somewhere in the 20s. 20-something of our top country songs about God.
Yep.
This has been so fun. Thank y'all for doing this.
It's been a blast.
We could. This podcast just could have been even longer.
Yes.
By a lot.
I think it was our longest episode we've ever done, and we probably cut ourselves kind of short just
Yeah.
to make sure we didn't go for 3 hours straight. It's summertime. It's the perfect time to listen to country music,
It
and
is.
specifically country music about God. Throw it on your car while you're driving around with the windows down and enjoy summer. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Don't forget, we got a lot of exciting stuff coming up here at our church over the summer we want you to be a part of. Including Adventure Week, camp. We've got our 2 Timothy and Titus teaching series all summer long. We want you to be a part of that. Hopefully this has been encouraging and fun for you. As always, you are loved and sent.